Hey, Mason here. So this morning when I woke up, I got a ping, and turns out GGG announced the Legacy of Phrecia 2, which is going to be a repeat of the previously played Legacy of Phrecia event, which I think has actually been like 11 months or something now. So it's actually been quite a while since this event ran. So this will be starting on whatever this date is, so next week sometime, on Friday I think, and lasts for a while, based on keepers, so that would be the core league. So there'll be no breach idols. But yeah, basically the idea is that the key thing that made this event really interesting is that there's 19 alternate Ascendancy classes, so all our Ascendancy classes will be replaced. You can still get Ascendancy class nodes through Flesh and Flame, but they're going to be very expensive. The idea is that there's going to be balance changes, so there will be nerfing or changing these. So I won't be releasing any POBs until this comes out, and you probably won't see any POBs from Kua for Sanctum stuff until these patch notes come out. The other thing that came with Phrecia is an alternate method to the Atlas tree. So, I'll just pull up an image here. So, you have these little idols, which look like this, like the little sockets. I basically think of them like Sanctum relics of different sizes, and they have map mods, like mods on them, right? So you can have like an idol with this mod here, and you can have it like 20 of these idols. Sorry, not 20, like however many to fill these sockets, right? So like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? Maybe say like 10. So we'd have like this value times 10 or whatever, right? Depending on the way you structure this. So this is for medium idols, so they have like different types, like large ones, small ones. They all have different mods that run on them. So that's basically going to be the Atlas system. We're going to be losing the Atlas tree, and that this will be replacing that. That's what this thing here is. They've added a new set of stuff now, and they've also disabled Breach. So that will be pretty cool. There'll be new stuff, right? The main issue with idols before is that you would have to ping like 70 people to get one, and they would never answer you. So with async trade, that won't be an issue anymore, and we're going to just buy our idols directly from the person instead of pinging 2,000 people and not getting a response, which is amazing. And then one more thing they mentioned here is that every area will have a random number of map mods with the number scaling up with your area level. They've removed many modifiers that will brick builds, such as Reflect. But we don't really know what else they will remove, right? Will they remove can't recover? Yes, like recovery, reduced recovery, blah, blah, blah. And finally, they also added campaign bosses will have some new stuff, and pinnacle bosses will have some new cool stuff. All unique monsters will enrage on low life. The reward for doing this is you get like 2 boxes, right? So Gamba, 2 Edict boxes, which is cool. Okay, so I'm going to be extremely daring with my league start, and I'm going to be playing Sanctum again for the seventh time, I think now, or 6th time or something. They'll be like, wow, new map mods. Wow, new map mechanics. Yeah, okay, back to Sanctum. But yeah, that's going to be the plan. I'm going to be doing Sanctum probably for a week, and then I'm going to be looking for a build to make with the currency I get in Sanctum, and then I'm going to be probably doing something else, like going to actually map and try some of this idle stuff. Because I actually never tried this stuff back when Phrecia came out. I think I played 2 days, and then Monster Hunter Worlds came out, so I went to play that instead. So I actually just quit Phrecia entirely. So yeah, I only have 2 days of progress. They're in my channel history. You can find the day 1 and the day 2 update for Phrecia. Okay, let's have a bit of a recap on what was played in Phrecia. So, on POE Ninja, you can actually go to Phrecia stuff, right? And I've selected Penance Brand of Dissipation because we're going to be playing Penance Brand of Dissipation again. Probably the best skill for Sanctum. The 2 main classes were played were Surfcaster and Scavenger, and I'll briefly walk over the Scavenger one, which is not the better one. The better one, I think, is Surfcaster. So let's put this up in POB. And the main thing with Scavenger is just one node here. It's just this node here. You get +1 max power charge, you get spell damage per power charge. That's literally it. This node here is Cloak of Defiance, Cloak of Flame, which is like kind of meh. And this node here is Adrenaline on Kill, which is good, but doesn't work on bosses, right? So it literally only works on like general Sanctum when you're running around in the area. But you get this one here for +1 PC, and you're playing a very standard power charge stacking setup. So again, Void Barrier, Malachi's, Heat Shiver, Restless Ward, Relocation Patience. This is nerfed, remember. You don't have Frenzy charges anymore. Over here, Badge of the Brotherhood, Call of the Brotherhood, Mage Blood. Right? Extremely, extremely stock standard power charge stacking setup for Penance Brand of Dissipation. As for auras, again, we have Bob again. We have the Spectre Friends for the auras. We have Righteous Fire, Purity. Again, it's pretty much stock standard here. Okay, I think this one's not as good. I think Surfcast is better. Let me talk about why. So I'm going to pull up the first Surfcaster guy. We call him Chill Guy. This one's not the right one. We just got power charge stacking setup. And this will be the power charge stacking setup. So to briefly talk about why Surfcaster is good, mainly because these nodes here. One, you have this node here, which is pretty absurd. It's just stats and movement speed and cast speed and whatever, right? Free stats always. You have this node here, which is the main reason why Surfcaster was played. You're converting 100% with lightning damage to cold damage, and you're playing Penance Brand of Dissipation, which is just lightning, so that gets converted to cold. Your cold damage can shock, so you get both shock and chill from this, and this means that you don't have to run Call of the Brotherhood. In this case, you see that these guys' rings, we're running Polaric Devastation and just a random ring, right? No Call of the Brotherhood, which normally takes up a ring slot or two, like you saw in the Scavenger. The other node that makes Surfcaster, so Chill Guy, really strong is this node here that says all damage taken from hits can chill you. This gives you insane speed because the effect of chill is reversed on you. And the last one here is this one here, which is like kind of mid, right? This one's whatever. So this is the main three nodes that were really strong on Surfcaster, and I'll talk about why in a bit, like for progression. But the general idea again is a very stock standard power charge stacking setup, running the standard power charge stacking setup stuff here. Radication Patience has been changed now, so you need to get your frenzy charges another way, or you need to have max frenzy on this and get your power charges through crits on your chest piece. Sorry, what I mean by chest piece, I mean your power charge on crit node here. So that will probably be the way we're doing it. It's going to be played very similarly to the way my character was built in Keeper's League, like my standard character, Inquisitor Guy. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about early progression for this build. Again, this is all going to be subject to change because we don't have patch notes, but I'll just briefly touch over why Reverse Chill was really strong for early progression. So I have my POB for my own Phrecia progression. You can also find this on my video, like from like 11 months ago, whatever. But the general idea is that for early progression, we would run this amulet here, which is like a 1C amulet. It makes so that you take 100 fire damage when you ignite an enemy. And then you run this ring here, which is also like a 1C ring, although this one's probably a bit more expensive because it's a max roll on cast speed. And the idea is that you get this cast speed while you're ignited, and all damage you take from hits can ignite you. So here's the main concept. You have Heat Shiver, which then gives you a little bit of fire damage per chill effect on enemies. And if I look at my Penance Brand of Dissipation here, you can see that we have a little bit of fire damage here. This fire damage, when it crits, it will ignite the mob, even for a really, really small amount. Doesn't really matter, right? So you can see here the average ignite roll here. I think there was like chance to ignite here as well. So a very, very tiny ignite. Then that would proc this node here, which makes it so that we take fire damage when we ignite an enemy. Then all damage we take will ignite us. So it would ignite us with a really small amount of fire damage. And this is actually sustained with this 2% of fire damage leached as life while ignited. So this is like, and then our fire damage comes from our Heat Shiver, right? So this is kind of sustained. So we're sustaining our own ignite, which will be a very, very small ignite on us. This gives us insane cast speed because we have both 40% on these two rings, which is 80%, right? In case you're not really familiar with Penance Brand has exponential scaling with cast speed in terms of its damage output, because one, it speeds up the ramp to max stacks, and two, it allows us to hit more times at max stacks. So per brand, cast speed is generally an insane stat. And only increases and reductions to cast speed work, not more cast speed, because written on the gem, as you can see there. Alright, so that's the main idea for early progression. And then, because this is damaging us, all damage taken from hits can chill you, and we get reverse chill. So this basically gives you permanent reverse chill on this character as long as you're damaging something with Penance Brand, which you generally are as you're doing Sanctums, which results in a very, very fast character for very, very early gear. So I'll briefly walk over my gear here, but you can also check my videos from 11 months ago. I'll put them in the description below. There's two videos, one for day 1 and one for day 2, and then I quit and went to play Monster Hunter Wilds or something on day 3. But yeah, so the idea is that it's literally all uniques, right? So you want to make sure that your res, actually just don't get hit for it, but you want to make sure your res is like, you don't really have any options for res, and you're generally just going along with getting like this kind of setup running. So it's going to be very squishy. So I'd recommend you be experienced with Sanctum, with Surfcaster especially, because you don't really have any tank, right? It's going to be pretty paper for early game. Just like basically every Sanctum character, by the way. Okay, and then once you basically farm enough, so I think this setup here was 83s were doable, but can be hard depending on the setup. Damage was around 22 mil, and there's some notes here. There's an amount of notes here. You can just look at it here, and you can see like some of the upgrades I went through, like top to bottom. And the costs of some of the gear that I bought. Mainly Heat Shiver was the more expensive one, as well as flasks. Automating them was expensive. But this is generally the setup that you will have. It's literally the same setup as the one that I just showed you before. And this would be what you would pushing into 83s with. Obviously, there's going to be some changes because of Alakesh, and Kua will probably talk about that once he releases his update, if he ends up playing Phrecia this league, which I hope he does. Alright, once you get your setup rolling, you farm some money up, you go buy your power charge stacking setup. Void Battery, Malachi's, Heat Shiver, Restless Ward, Valakesha, Patience, Brotherhood, Polaric, Graven's Secret. This will probably be Void Battery, so you'll have 2 Void Batteries, because this one says that you lose power charges when you get to max, and then you'll probably have a very similar setup to what I have in this league, which I'll just briefly pull up here. So Sanctum POBs. I think it was this one. So in my case, I had a Relicash Impatience with Max Frenzy, and then I got my power charges through Power Charge on Crit from Penance Burn of Dissipation. That's the main way we got around this downside of the nerf to Relicash. This will probably be the exact same setup that you'll be using here. You'll be looking for a Frenzy Charge Boots, and you'll be looking for getting your power charges with this support gem here once you have enough crit. Oops, sorry about that. But yeah, I'm not going to ramble too much since we don't really have much information, right? Because it's going to be changed. But that's kind of the general idea. The general idea is that you will play a Self-Ignite Reverse Chill setup, and then once you get to a Power Charge Stacking setup, you'll then move off these 3 rings to the Amulet and these 2 rings. So you'll play the very standard Power Charge Stacking rings. Actually, no, these are not standard Power Charge Stacking rings, but they're just damage, right? So in this case, it's Polaric Devastation for covers enemies in Frost for 5 seconds when you freeze them, and a ring here for just life, rares, and attributes, which you really needed on this build. Alright, that's going to wrap it up here. If you need more builds, more ideas, go to POE Ninja, go to the Phrecia Event League here. All the information is here, and you can have a look at what people were playing in Sanctum at this moment. But pretty much every Sanctum person was playing this, and there was pretty much not too much argument in what was the best setup here. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about what my plans are for this league. So my initial plan will be to league start Sanctum for probably a week, get Mage Blood, do the standard stuff, probably finish the Surfcaster guy, make a video, you know how it goes, make an update, blah blah blah, and then I'm going to be looking towards playing another build. There's 2 build ideas that I have at the moment. These are not special by any means. I'm just going to talk about what my ideas were. So I really like playing Energy Blade. I played Energy Blade in 3.26, I think, and it was very, very fun. Energy Blade has a very, very annoying issue where you need to use Coruscating Elixir, and Phrecia introduces a way to get around this with Shavron's Wrapping. Chaos damage does not bypass Energy Shield. You can click this node and you get the Coruscating Elixir effect permanently with no downtime and with no flask management. This is extremely, extremely powerful for Ivory Tower builds. And then perfectly, there is Battle Mage here, which allows you to actually play Energy Blade Ivory Tower builds. That's probably one of my plans because I really enjoyed Ivory Tower, but I really hate Pink Flask, Coruscating Elixir. So that's my initial thought of what I'm going to be playing as my second character once I have some currency from rushing Sanctum for a week. So yeah, I'm going to be playing something to do with Ivory Tower Battle Mage with Energy Blade. As for what I'm actually going to be doing with it, I don't know yet, but it'll probably be like some sort of like custom crit stuff, right? Blah, blah, blah. I'll decide once it gets time for that, and once I look at POB and people have ideas come out, you know how it goes. But that's going to be my first idea. The other idea is just playing something that's probably going to be very, very meta, which is just Whisperer with Kinetic Blast or something, right? You have like some very, very strong mana nodes. So for example, you have this node here, which is very good. This one here, which is Rage, which is okay. This one here is very good. This one here is decent, but you have to play Dex, so you can't stack ES. And this one here is the flat damage. It's like the Archmage for attacks, which is also very cool. But yeah, that's going to be my initial few thoughts in terms of what I'm going to be playing. It's going to be Sanctum, and then it's going to be something to do with either I'll just look for another build to play, more or less. I'm going to farm up some currency, have another build to play. Sanctum guy will probably just sit with a 2 Flask Mage Blood, kind of like my current Sanctum guy in 3.27. Because you don't really need a 4 Flask Mage Blood, and then we'll see how that goes. It'll just make the Sanctum character a lot stronger to start up, to get rolling. So in my case, my character had 2 Flask Mage Blood here, because you don't really need the other flasks. You just take triple unique flask for damage, right? All you care about is speed and silver. Although you might want a 3 Flask one, because you might want a Diamond Flask here for keeping crit on Surfcaster, which is harder because you don't have the Inquisitor node here, which gives you a bunch of crit chances node here. Alright, it's going to wrap it up here. Not going to ramble too long, and I won't be putting out any POBs until the actual patch notes come out, because it's going to change everything. If they just blast Surfcaster, if they blast Scavenger, we'll see how that goes. But this will probably be the general idea of what I'm going to be starting, and it will be something to do with Sanctum, because I just really like the consistency of making money early with Sanctum, and I won't have to deal with idols and their prices and the market and people making videos on farming strats and stuff like that. But eventually I will be trying some, I hope to try some other stuff. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes, right? I hope to try some mapping stuff. Hope to try some idols because I didn't try them last time. So we'll see that. We'll see how that ends up. Okay, gonna wrap it up here before I ramble too much. Thanks for watching. Appreciate the support on all the videos. And back to Sanctum we go.